Hello everyone, how are you? That's me, Nasr Morgan, and you're watching online courses. Take off, take up, and taken. What's the difference? All of them are phrasal verbs. All of them use the same word, the word take. But we add off, up, and in. Let's start with the first word, it's a take off, or the first phrasal verb, it's a take off. Take off means to remove something, removing something. When you remove clothes, shoes, glasses, or accessories like watch, when you take off your watch, that means you are removing your watch. Let's study these examples. Please take off your shoes, or please remove your shoes. Another example, he took off his jacket, which means he removed his jacket. Another example, she takes off her glasses before sleeping, or she removed her glasses before sleeping. That's meaning number one for the word take off. It has three meanings. Meaning number two is plane leaves the ground. We use this word when we talk about the plane, when the plane leaves the ground in the airport. For example, the plane took off on time, or which means the plane left on time, or the plane left the ground on time. Another example, our flight take off in 20 minutes, which means our flight will leave in 20 minutes. Another example, I enjoy watching airplanes take off, or I enjoy watching the plane leaves the ground at the airport. Another meaning for the word take off is become successful very quickly or very fast. For example, her business really took off, means her business really became very successful very quickly. Another example, his YouTube channel took off last year, which means his YouTube channel became very successful very fast last year. Another example, the song took off on social media. When he uploaded the song for the social media, it became very successful very quickly. The second phrasal verb for today is take up. Take up means new beginnings. Actually, it has more than one meaning. The first meaning is new beginning. We use take up when you start a new hobby or activity. It sounds much more natural than just saying I started. So native speakers use the phrasal verbs more than the normal words. So let's see some examples with take up. Number one, I decided to take up photography during my vacation, which means he decided to start his hobby, which is photography. Another example, she took up painting, which means she started painting. He took up yoga, which means he started doing yoga. Another example, my brother took up tennis last month, which means my brother started playing tennis last month. That's meaning number one for take up. Another meaning for take up is when you talk about space and time, which means it means to occupy or consume space or time. Let's understand from these examples. This sofa takes up too much space, or this sofa occupy too much space in the house. Another example. The meeting took up my afternoon, which means the meeting consumed my afternoon. Another example, studying take up a lot of time, which means studying occupy a lot of time or consume a lot of time. That's a space up. Let's take up again. Sorry, take up has the third meaning for take up is accept something, to accept something. For example, she took up the challenge, which means she accepted the challenge. Another example, he took up the offer immediately, which means he accepted the offer immediately. So take up has three meanings. Let's see the last phrasal verb for today. It's taken. Taken also has three meanings. Meaning number one is to understand something. When you take something in, you are processing information or trying to understand it fully. For example, it was hard to take in the news, which means it was hard to understand the news. Another example, I need time to take in everything, which means I need time to understand everything. Another example, the students couldn't take in lesson, which means the students couldn't understand the lesson. That's meaning number one. Another meaning for the word taken, which means include something, to include something. Let's understand these examples. The tour takes in many cities, which means the tour includes many cities. We will go more than one city. Another example, the course takes in grammar and speaking, which means the course includes grammar and speaking. Another example, our trip took in 3 countries, which means our trip included 3 countries. We traveled to 3 countries. So the second meaning for taken, it means to include something. The third meaning and the last one is to give shelter, to give a place to someone or to something to stay in. For example, they took in a homeless cat, which means they gave a shelter or gave a place to the cat to live inside or to stay inside. Another example, my aunt took in her friend for a few days, which means she invited her to stay with her for a few days. So my aunt took in her friend for a few days. Another example, he was kind enough to take me in, which means to invite me at his house to live with him or to stay with him. These are the three phrasal verbs for today, but let's summarize the meaning for all of them. Take off means to remove, the plane leaves, or become very successful. Take up means start a hobby, use time or space, or accept something. Taken means understand or include or give shelter. Well, now it's your turn. Write one sentence in the comments using take off or take up or taken, and I will read them. And if you enjoyed this lesson, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. Thank you for your watching and see you in the next video, inshallah. Bye bye.